safer, but we're going to see what route they take as we're ready to get this started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time, Vegas. Let's get loud and get ready for this next game.
All right, opening spread that we're looking at here. It looks like these guys are going to be coming in pretty well spread. And again, if you want to look as good as the teams are, maybe you want to look like as good as everyone, you can go ahead and pick up the full pack and get all the team packs. You'll get all the parachutes, all the jerseys. And to top it all off, we'll just go ahead and throw in the H1Z1 Pro League off-roader into that pack for you as well. That's actually my favorite vehicle in the game right now.
Why make a decision when you can just wear them all? Now, that's kind of going to be the motto.
Why pick one when you can have everything?
Yeah, and that's going to be the motto for these guys as well as they roam around the map trying to pick up just about as much loot as they can. You can see Kyrig right now just having an absolute field day, getting so much already inside of that cop car as well. We're going to have all 75 of our players representing their 15 teams roaming around the map. We already talked about the loot that they're going to be looking for, but the question is it going to be a faster-paced game? The ring going to determine that, but these players would not be able to play the game at all if it wasn't for our hardware sponsor, Republic of Gamers, giving us 75 rigs for all of our players. And now with that, we're ready to get right into the action, Jason.
Yeah, so we're going to hop on board with Epsilon, that team that is now tied for second, our original leader for the season. Now in a rough spot. They're slowly kind of working their way back. They've hit a tied position now. They need to show up in this match. They need to start gaining back ground before Set to Destroy gets to a point that they cannot catch them.
It's got to be the thing on your mind, right? If you're Epsilon, how are you going to change how you play? You look so dominant early on in a few of these weeks, and then we start off week 4 in round number 1, and they're instantly going to have a player picked off. They're just starting with 4 men. They do change their play style relatively well. They basically try to set that trap that we talk about, wait for a gunfight, but that is not a situation that they want to have to adapt to. And now when we actually get to see this ring, it's somewhat similar to what we saw last time, but it has Pleasant Valley in the mix.
Kind of. It's kind of similar. This is actually a much better circle for some of these teams that want to play aggressive. There's going to be a little bit different spread of POIs, not as much hill and tree coverage, a lot more open sight lines here other than those POIs that are going to fall into the center of the map. Most likely, based on the way that the circle system works, it's going to center in pretty close to the middle or towards the southwest corner of this circle. So I'm expecting to see teams right around the junkyard, or not the junkyard, but the car shop, basically all the broken cars and tires there just west of PV. From right there into southwest is where I'm expecting a lot of these teams to try and get to early in the match. There's a couple good hills out there as well, so I think that this is going to be a lot more, it's conducive, the right word, to a fast-paced match.
Conducive is the word.
I don't know if I used it in the right spot, but I'm going to just assume that I didn't go with it. Somebody will tell me if I did.
Mathematicians, poets, any of that. Well, we are
not an English major either.
As soon as some of these fights do start to go down, and it is important to note, just moving slightly over to the east is going to have a very big impact on what is in that field of play and how these players are going to position themselves. Last time we saw quite a lot actually lost to the outside of the map. We saw Salty Tier Lake being very close to the center. Now these players are much more likely to try to go for that center positioning, and as you so brilliantly said, it is conducive to some more early game action.
I definitely think that we'll get a little bit more early game action here, probably by Circle 2. If we don't see an elimination before then, we can already see Set to Destroy making an early pass there through the middle of the circle. Well, I can see it, you guys can't see it, but there's a couple teams already kind of doing what we were talking about. On board with Noble, one of those teams that is in that center of the circle. So they're going to look for power position very early in the match. This is what you need in these open sightline areas. You want to be there even sooner than we were in the last circle. This is a circle that you want to be there very early.
I want to note Rogue is one of those teams right now that's kind of in the dog pack. 3 teams with 55 points. Second to 4th place, all trying to catch up to Set to Destroy, trying to pull ahead of their competition. You mentioned the airdrop that's coming down right now. Do you think that there are any teams in particular that are going to try to go for an aggressive play on that?
Rogue, 100%. This is a great airdrop for them. It is in an area that has hard cover all around it. They're the team that's there holding the position already. Zeke up top, kind of warding off vehicles, taking shots at them. They may have already grabbed it, to be honest. It looks like 4 guys on the team are wearing armors. Now all 5 are wearing armors. So that airdrop was just gifted down to Rogue. We'll see if they can maybe take that gift and turn it into something in this match.
We could also see one thing that I wanted to know, because we didn't see it as much earlier on in that war of attrition, because it was much slower in the first game. We saw the Magnum coming out on the side of Zeke, just going to be chewing away at those vehicles, and you could see him switching between those weapons. The main reason that you see that Magnum be broken out is to do that, to put damage into vehicles so your enemy does not have them when they make it into the later portions of the game.
Yeah, it's 100% the vehicle slayer. That is what you are going to use it for. You are after vehicles when you see that out. They are not shooting for players typically unless they're just out of ammo and everything else. That guy is specific to destroying vehicles. And we did see some vehicle explosions. We saw it come into play and eliminate one of the players from Vitality in the last match. I think it was Sign from LG. Ended up taking one of them out and blowing up that vehicle. So the Magnum is a big play maker. It's just not seen as often. It's harder to get a play done with it. You're typically just kind of eating away at cars.
Exactly. That's the most common usage of it. Now on board with Obey. Now this team, they got a little bit of work done. They definitely struggled in the earlier portions of the league. They have a pretty good setup from what we can tell right now in these vehicles. They got quite a few cop cars all around to get that little merry caravan started for their team. And now the main thing that we need to be paying attention to is how are these teams going to position in the current ring. Mentioned that we think they're going to go for a much more centered approach. Do you think that any teams go for a different strategy there?
I think that everybody's kind of got their strategies figured out at this point. They're going to go for what they feel most comfortable with. The teams that I expect to see some of those change-ups from are going to be those teams at the bottom of the pack. They've got to get to positions earlier. They need to get fights earlier. They need to get points on the board, and they need to do it in a manner that they're not losing anything. It looks like their Rogue is just sitting here shredding items, probably making all the craftables they need for later. It looks like Huskers is just going to probably stick those into vehicles, but C9 is going to come driving by Zeke and Riki immediately up onto the top of that emergency response tent, and they are going to start throwing shots. Vago also with that Magnum looking to get some hits into Flowers' vehicle there, and Cloud9 is going to continue on their way. Doesn't look like they want any of it. I think we just saw TSM right off to the right side over there. In the wing. TSM might be pretty close.
Very comfortable in that neck of the woods there. They're going to be doing that old helmet huddle, just getting down there, tearing up everything, and then the second they need, they got 2 bodies just going to pop out and put in shots with that Magnum.
So Vago there, one of the other things, we talked about dropping your armor last game on the ground when you don't need it. What Vago's doing is he's preloading a helmet onto the ground. If his helmet gets ripped, it's much quicker to whip your mouse down, pick up the new helmet because it'll automatically go on your head. It's much faster to do that than to try and pull it out of your inventory, so these guys are also setting things like that up. That's the stuff that we were talking about doing. You set the armor on the ground. When the fight starts and you need it, you pick it up. You're going to need a helmet at some point. Leave your helmet on the ground. It's much faster to pick up and stay in the fight and stay in quicker, or stay in combat longer.
So Ana going to be rocking those shades right now. He was able to get 5 kills with them last week, but we're going to be jumping on board with Noble already in a fight. Hiding out in that smoke. It looks like they're going to get into this cop car and just try to get out of dodge. This will be a very early engagement to be taken here. Now trying to run away from their opponents and get back to their other 2 members.
And we are going to see this circle start to close in, and we're going to get the next one announced, and we can see it start to pull over to that west side onto that tire shop, or the right there at the top of the hill, just to the west of PV, right where Cloud9 is. So Cloud9 set to destroy Echo Fox and LG all in that area. That's going to become really compact really quick here, especially as CLG, Gangstars, Impact, and all these other guys start to rotate. They know that the circle's going to close in again. It's not going to pull towards PV. It's going to pull away from it.
Now, another thing to note, if this is anything like the ring that we did see last time, all of a sudden there was that powder keg. It just explodes, and the kills go absolutely crazy. If you want to watch any player in particular, if you have a favorite team, you wanted to see how they got eliminated or how they got majority of their points, after the matches are done on Facebook, we get the point of view from every single one of these players loaded up, so you can watch them from start to finish and see what your favorite player did to actually get to the position that they got to.
I think that's a great addition, especially for Battle Royale. It's really, really hard to capture every single fight every time. There's so much going on the map with 15 teams all fighting each other. It's definitely a cool aspect that's been added into the Pro League for the people at home to go ahead and get viewing. I think it's also great for the teams to be able to go back and review tape to see what they did wrong. But we are going to hear this bomb plane coming over the top. I don't think it's going to drop anywhere near them. And Impact now looking to take a couple shots up in the direction of Cloud9. Cutie going to go ahead and let that Molotov fly. Adrian going to go down to MiG on the other side there. Cutie Venom still looking for these fights. We were talking about them right beforehand. They were the team to watch. They need to show up. They need to get some eliminations. They've gotten one, but they need to get in there and start getting the rest of these guys down.
That is going to be the first elimination of our match, and we see quite a few teams all huddled up here. Will we see more fights go down right now? Fires are ablazing. QT Venom roaming right now, looking for some action. Right near LG, right near Cloud9, and right at the centerpiece of this table of carnage is going to be that airdrop coming down.
Airdrop coming down. C9 and Impact here still in a bit of a standoff. Just a stalemate, though. Neither team ready to make a push into the other one. I mean, this is what we're talking about. C9 is another team that, in the standings, could use some more points, I believe. They're also sitting down there at the start of the day, only 5 points above Obey. So, I mean, we really need to see them start getting some eliminations. They need to be willing to take these fights and get points on the board. And both of these teams are standing off. At the start of the day, they were sitting in 13th and 14th. C9 being in 13th, Impact in 14th. So maybe this is kind of indicative of why they are where they're at.
I mean, if you remember how Set to Destroy X actually got to the place that they were at, it was sheer aggression. They were going for breaching plays. Benny Boy all of a sudden would be able to just take these crazy shotgun fights. Some fights that people would consider 50-50, but that risk, it seemed to be a high percentage play. It's what got them here, and now all of a sudden I think Set to Destroy X is just in this comfortable place that they don't want to just give up points, so they're kind of playing it a little bit slower. But if you want to take the throne, it seems like you need to get incredibly aggressive.
Yeah, we did see that heart rate up on screen there for a minute at 132, and that's kind of not in combat. He wasn't in direct combat. 132 is very high. Looking a little stressed, considering that there wasn't being shots exchanged yet. So that's a high baseline.
Definitely is. I mean, with the adrenaline pumping, though, sometimes that's exactly what you need to get into the zone. Now we're going to see Sign letting out some of these long-range shots into Tempo Storm. As soon as they get out of his line of sight, he's got another team to sink into. But CBK Flame is actually going to get that helmet ripped off. Instantly going to put on another one, but it's in a very dangerous position. And he is going to be eliminated there. And he's not the only one from his squad to go down. Impact only going to have 3 left up.
Did you see who took him out, though? Doug is Raw took him down in that rivalry video. I do believe the CBK Flame referred to him, Doug, specifically as a free kill. So Doug gonna come back and take that down. And let's go ahead and take another look at that real quick.
Yeah, let's see how free that kill was. We're actually gonna see Nah just raining it down. Gonna be putting in those shots right behind Doug is Raw. The teamwork definitely gonna come in there. Doug is Raw gets in about 70% of the damage into Blank, and then follows up with that kill onto CBK Flame. Betty Boy is going to be assisting him in that. So you can see
like a free kill to me
coming in from those shots from those teammates.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not a free kill. Doug gonna rain some bullets down. Him and the team coming in and really putting a hurt on Impact. Impact gonna drop 2 members there, so they're gonna be down to 3. They're gonna be in currently, in terms of how many bodies you got on the field, they're behind. They are the lowest body count currently. And early.
They were also the team that we said, hey, we want to look at this squad, see what they can do. They're struggling quite a bit, and now they find themselves in a very bad position. Tempo Storm and that was a really scary moment there. I thought we were going to lose some members from Tempo Storm. We are going to lose off-screen Yogi to an own kill to a vehicle, but it was Benny Boy who seemed to have set that up just a little bit by getting some damage in. But in this neighborhood, we got some unfriendly neighbors. It is going to be Gangstars and Tempo Storm right up against each other, only separated by 2 houses.
And these vehicles are going to go down. The last vehicle for Gangstars is about to blow up. Same thing here. It's going to blow up, and it might have done damage. I can't see from the camera angle right now, but it may have done a bunch of damage to the other vehicle as well. So Tempo Storm not really having a vehicle to get away in either. Both these teams going to be stuck most likely on foot. Looks like they actually rotated the 1 Jeep around. So they're going to have the 1 Jeep for Tempo Storm, but it's already hurting. And putting 5 bodies in a damaged vehicle is usually not very good. That is setting yourself up for failure.
Tempo Stars and Gang Stars still going to be just right across the map from each other. You can see this is going to be a difficult situation for them. Now looking at our new ring, we can see these players starting to actually move in. But we want to see how this fight did play out, so we're going to go back, actually take a peek at what went down as Gang Stars tried to grab that vehicle.
Yeah, so Gang Stars is going to try and grab that vehicle, and you're going to see shots come out into the back of that vehicle where Beast was the driver. Not able to really get much done there. Both teams going to lose vehicles. Yeah, really, it was a standoff where neither team really gave up any players. They just kind of sacrificed vehicles. Gang Stars did end up dropping 1, but no major elimination. Stop a little, though. Gonna go down to Imperial Howl from C9. Set Destroy in a close range engagement here. We're gonna lose another one. Benny Boy gonna go down. Doug is Raw gonna go down. Losing Chappie and Flowers. Set Anna and Prodigy Ace is gonna get taken down there. Frex, last one left alive, and he is gonna go down to CLG. So Set to Destroy and C9, first 2 teams eliminated here. C9 or Set to Destroy getting eliminated very early. This is not something they're used to, at least in the past 3 matches they played last week, and the first game today were both big matches for them.
They got a whole bunch of cushion, though, to work with here.
They got a little bit.
And now we're going to see CLG looking at Vitality. They got quite a bit of pressure behind them, though, as well. CLG, though, really was that team that got a lot of that work done that was going to start eliminating these teams, and it doesn't look like they are going to relent. Now it is Sloth who's putting in those long-range shots, trying to fight for a little bit of ground here. Looking at none other than Grimmy Bear trying to do just the same, and all of a sudden we see CLG just stuck between a bunch of teams trying to figure out where they want to put their crosshairs, doing a little bit of work on Vitality, Jason.
Yeah, Rogue in a fight elsewhere, going down to Noble, losing Riki, Zeke, and Stormin all at the same time there. That's a big loss for Rogue, dropping 3 bodies. So now we're back on board with Echo Fox. Back to CLG's Nightwalker, though, and I do believe the team below backed off. No, Vitality's still there, not really taking off yet. They have a little bit of a ridgeline there. Nightwalker trying to find that high ground so that he can get a shot down into them. Finds one into the body armor of Clem. Husker's going to get eliminated by Carta. Bago going to take out Drop, and then Bago's going to go down, and I do believe that it's going to be it for Rogue, as they are the 3rd team eliminated here in match number 2. Gas now pressing, and CLG needs to get moving.
CLG just pressed up against the gas there, still looking at Vitality, looking for this fight. It's going to be none other than Nightwalker. He's got his sights on Hurrah, going to be able to peek down for just a second. LG going to be able off-screen to just completely light up Alliance. And finally, we are going to see Impact Gaming pick up a kill.
And CLG going to get a couple eliminations there onto Vitality. Vitality coming in with a nade throw, and they are going to connect onto Kreenak. Kreenak going to go down. TSM now losing Trim and Carta to Impact Gaming, and Echo Fox going to come through and take out Daw and Flame Hopper. We're still seeing players drop left and right. We do have a quick replay, though, of what we just saw go down.
Man, we could pull so many different replays there with all of the kills that are going left and right. This one going to be JP2 as he gets his sights. This was off screen, actually just starting to wipe Alliance clean. You can see at the end of that engagement, MP, the only one going to be up. Echo Fox looking like one of those healthy squads right now. Them and Obey Alliance are going to have 5 members, followed by Tempo Storm and Epsilon.
LG actually got that play off the Magnum. So JP coming through with the support as the Magnum player for the team, nails the vehicle, gets 3 guys in the car. That's what we were talking about. Having multiple bodies in a low health car is really, really risky, especially with the guys that have the aim like they do. With a Magnum, it is just too high risk. You cannot, in late game, throw that many players in a vehicle.
So some teams that could be scary. We said that Impact Gaming and Obey needed to step up. They seem to be doing it. Blood Inferno, though, going to be taken out, which means Impact Gaming only has 2 left. But LG is this team that is currently tied right now with Epsilon and Rogue in that 2nd place spot with 55 points. And you can see them very high up on the leaderboard, still with 4 players as well. This could potentially be their chance to crawl up a little bit. Set to Destroy gets eliminated nice and early. They're only going to have 5 points, and I don't believe that they were in that modifier range. Now Epsilon wants to get something going as well, and you can see Obey just wants to step to them here, going for that breaching play, running right on in. They're going to be looking for the kills, and we just have a shotgun slaying fest going on right now. Tempo Storm pulling down kill after kill. LG going to be able to jump in and take down Reptar. Zach falls as well. It's Gangstars in the fray, and we are just not stopping. Buffalo with just 10% health going to be able to make a play happen. Epsilon still going for more and more. And this is why this is a squad that has been so dominant week after week. We're into our top 6 teams.
Yeah, Epsilon going to go ahead and shut down that play from Obey. Takes him out. Gangstars, though, going off. They were down a player, and they turned that one around and eliminated Tempo Storm. So Gangstars with some great play there. Shotgun inside. Those are definitely high intensity, high... I'm sure the heart rate monitors, had I had the time to look at them, were probably through the roof on that. Those are definitely some high-stakes situations that put your blood pressure way up there.
Epsilon and LG currently tied in this game. LG's going to have the advantage of having the extra man. They're also tied on the leaderboard. Now LG wants to try to change that, putting some shots in from decent range into Echo Fox. Echo Fox hiding out in the trees, and you can see Epsilon still going to be in their crosshairs as well. LG wants to get it done here. They want to catch up to Epsilon. Epsilon now has those 7 points. Echo Fox going to be the ones to shift this fulcrum, to shift this scale. Who are they going to get into the gunfight with? Gangstars not looking healthy here, Jason.
No, they are getting shot at right now by the push from Echo Fox. In comes the nade right behind Buffalo, and it's going to connect. Proc's going to take him down. Now, looking for the last member of Gangstars is Echo Fox. He is inside. Naskell just outside, or just inside in the building there. Echo Fox now looking at the direction of LG, who they're getting a little bit of an assist there from Impact Gaming. Impact Gaming still here. We talked about it before. They need to show up big. They're staying in the game long. Rogue going to return that note onto Sweet Dreams.
LG and Epsilon still just neck and neck here, and they are just preying on these other teams. Finally, Epsilon's going to be able to find those members of Echo Fox who are just being a thorn in the side. They're going to have 1 player left. Gangstar's going to have 1 player left. Epsilon and LG completely tied up 3 and 3, and all of a sudden LG going to find another kill here. That's going to put, all of a sudden Epsilon ties it up. We're just going to have LG and Epsilon still tied at 8 points apiece.
And we're currently into that second level of modifiers, so Echo Fox also made it in there in the top 5, so that'll be something to take a look at at the end of the match. But LG now in this close range fight with Noble. Rogue gonna back off for a moment after he takes a hit. Gonna let a nade fly, see if he can connect. Spirit, Chance, both gonna go down. JP2 gonna get eliminated by Sharima, and then Sharima gonna get put down by Gypsy, but Epsilon starting to rain down shots.
Epsilon played it so smart. Let the other teams get in the fight. We're just gonna come in and hope our bullets hit last, and they're going to be tied with LG as far as the points are concerned, but we know how big the 2x modifier is going to be. Rogue trying to get 1 more before he is sent to the grave. All alone for his team, putting in these long-range shots into Venom. Going to be able to get him down, though, is Melander just rips that kill away, and now we have Rogue all by himself. What is he going to do? Just run into the gas, buddy, because Epsilon looks like they're going to be able to get this 2x multiplier.
That is the play. A 1v2 he was able to pull off. A 1v3 he's just not going to get it done. Not against Epsilon. He knows it. He's going to go ahead and deny them the point. Epsilon needed to know where he's at, and they need to go for the chase. They may go chasing straight into the gas. They think he's on the hill. He's already gone and eliminated himself. Deny them the point. Epsilon definitely wanted that point, but that's gotta feel good. After coming in week 1 and crushing it, they've had 2 really rough weeks, showing back up last game today.
The highest scoring game that we have seen is 28 points. They're able to get 22. They were tied with the likes of LG and Rogue for that second place with 55 points. All of a sudden, with a somewhat disappointing performance from Set to Destroy X, as you can see, they're not even going to be up on this leaderboard right now in our top 8 teams. All of a sudden, Epsilon can maybe start to close that gap just a little bit.
Yeah, you got to start gaining the ground back, and this is the type of match that's going to do it. When the top team underperforms, you need to show up big to close